Well, welcome everybody back to another Mindful Monday. We are all on a journey, and sometimes those journeys have challenges. However, you do not have to face those challenges alone because at Mindful Mondays, we believe that we can do more together, and we're here to support you holistically and without judgment. So thank you for joining us today. And I would like to start by thanking our sponsors, Anna Pashanti, who teaches you how to talk to your cells, Legal Shield, protecting yourself, your family, and your business, and Ben Method Academy, which is helping you find your mojoy. It's these sponsorships that makes Mindful Mondays possible. Now, if you are a mompreneur who has been struggling with exhaustion, fear, and self-doubt is creeping in as you juggle the many different hats of life, then you are in the right place. Our guest today, Isabelle von Boetticher Fouchard. I apologize if I messed that up, but she is a mother and a primary caregiver for her elderly mom, and she understands the unique challenges faced by women today. Isabelle is a powerhouse that reinvented herself as an entrepreneur at the age of 45, and she combines her leadership experience with her expertise in quantum energetics and traditional healing practices to help struggling mompreneurs. So, Isabelle, welcome to Mindful Mondays.
Hey, hi, Laura. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
I'm doing well. I love your background. I should mention that she is coming to us from the Dominican Republic, which I think is just a beautiful place to be able to work and to live from.
It is. It is.
Yeah, it looks absolutely gorgeous. So you have quite the journey to where you got today. Can you please share with us about that journey and what that was like?
Well, so maybe saying so my journey, my personal journey was really like from the corporate world in a leading position and having kind of a stressful life as a single mom, taking care of your child and being in this really high pressure work that is not just a 9 to 5 job, but actually a 5 to 9 or even 11 p.m. job. And so transitioning now into becoming an entrepreneur and working more in the holistic field has been a journey because I didn't just step out of my corporate world within, I don't know, a month or a year. It was really a journey of ups and downs, obviously, and of facing my personal limits and of listening to what I really need and finding out what I really want, and to then really make my passion and my experiences my asset to now not just help myself, but also other women or people who want to go through a major change in their lives and just don't know how. So that's probably what I did back then, start my journey. And now I help others doing that as well.
Yeah, and that is not an easy transition. That does take time. Being from a military background, I've worked for corporate businesses and stuff, and there's a number of things. But yeah, it's not like a switch you just flip, right? And you don't just go from one to the other.
No, exactly. It's just probably the first step is probably the hardest. And that's the one that I also recall very much when I was still in this corporate leading position as a vice president in leadership development, and just feeling I'm not well here anymore. And this is not what I want. But then you have all these limiting beliefs and you don't, me at least, I didn't believe in myself anymore. I lost confidence, even though from the outside people were thinking, oh my God, she has an amazing job and she is someone. And so like changing that and looking for a different job and trusting myself that I can do something else as a working mom who is in a leading position and works part-time. And I was thinking nobody will hire me. And yeah, so this first step of like getting out of that corporate world into another setup of working was really the most marking one for me. And then the others came afterwards and more in little frequencies, like kind of I changed in my life or my career in shorter steps. So
yeah. So was it a combination of things? I mean, was it things that you recognized, or did life situation change that made you realize that corporate was not for you anymore?
Well, to be honest, I did not just sit down one day and thought, oh, so my life, I don't like it anymore and change it. I was really in a place, I wouldn't call it burnout, but I had a breakdown because of having suppressed my personal wants and needs for so long and just putting everybody else first. So like my job, my client, my boss, my colleagues, and obviously on the private side, my son, my ex-husband. I put everybody first, and then at one point I just had ailments that would not just show, but they were making it impossible for me to ignore, because like I had an eczema, I had my hands couldn't hardly move anymore because my skin was so dry. I had at one point my eyes, I couldn't open them for a week because I had an infection. Doctors couldn't help me. So I had the luck in that sense that I had a business partner, an external business partner. He just faced me with where I was. And I, at one point, just couldn't just turn around and ignore it. And I really broke down in front of him and realized I have to change something, because I still have this responsibility for my son. He was back then only 9 years old. And it was about changing something, not just for me, but obviously for him, and being able to come out at the other end and surviving kind of all the things that were like coming at me. Yeah.
Yeah. So you kind of turn surviving into thriving, which is not always easy. You said ex-husband, so I'm assuming at some more point you were raising your son on your own then.
Yeah. So I have actually. So I'm widowed and I'm divorced. So I lost the biological father of my son, and then I found another person, but we also divorced. But he is the father of my son. So my son has two fathers, if you want to, and so we raised this child for a while together, and afterwards separately as a single mom, but still with him in the background. Yeah.
Yeah. But on top of all of that, and I'm sorry for your loss too, but on top of all of that, you now are taking care of your mother, is it?
Yes. Yes, that was something. I don't know if it's culturally in me, because my mother is Haitian, my German dad that passed away 2 years ago. We were always, with my siblings, thinking my parents wanted to grow old together and die at home, but nobody was ever thinking, well, they might not die at the same time. So what happens if there's only one left? And it was clear for me that I will support my mother's dream and not send her to an elderly home, but allowing her to grow old in my home. So I took her in and actually made her lately move from Haiti to me in the Dominican Republic, where I am based. And that had to do with lots of adaptation, not just for her, but for me as well. It is very challenging having to take care of an elderly parent, not just an elderly person, because obviously if it's our mother, our dad, there's so many emotional things coming in, and our childhood wounds come up and all of that. But for me, it's kind of like a mix of a blessing and a challenge at once. And every day I experience the blessing, the blessed moments, and also the challenging moments. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I can relate to that. It's tough because, like you said, being an elderly parent is different than an elderly person, because you have that, if you grew up like we did, where you have that respect for your parents because they are your parents, and then they don't never necessarily know how to stop being a parent. And, you get to that age, there's all kinds of dynamics that start to go in there that can make things challenging.
Exactly. Like all these family dynamics and these energetics that you cannot disconnect from. Just like if I would work in an elderly home and I would have 10 elderly people to take care of, well, they are not my parent, and I don't have this energetic connect and this past experience with them when I was a child and all of that. So this is definitely something else.
Yeah, yeah. Did you find the change of, because sometimes change of environment helps as well. Did you find the change of the environment, the Dominican Republic, to be rather healing or to help you to progress in your path? Or
Oh, well, that was my choice to come here, and it's absolutely supporting me, because when I first transitioned from the corporate world and wanting to live more the entrepreneurial part, I moved also at the same time from Europe to Haiti, and then started living and working there and experiencing how it is for me to live and experience this life of work in a place that is also my home. And then with the situation in Haiti becoming really difficult, I chose to come to the Dominican Republic and still keeping the proximity to my family in Haiti. And so definitely I am thriving here. I can have my business thrive. And it's wonderful for me being the caregiver for my mom here, because I kind of created a little bit of a Haitian bubble for her. So she lives like in Haiti because she never learned Spanish. She's not even interested in learning Spanish. She's 87 years old, and I just want her to be able to grow old like she wanted. And it's so possible here because I have lots of Haitian friends here, and people who helped me creating this Haitian bubble for her. And I still, or by doing that, by creating this bubble for her, I create also lots of me time and space that I need, not just to thrive in my business, but also what is really super important, to have my own life and thrive on my personal path, which is obviously not just being 100% caregiver to my mom. There's also my life to live.
Yeah, and that can be a lot going on. So have you, I mean, I would imagine you have your own kind of self-care routine, but has it been a challenge then sticking to your own self-care routine?
Yeah, because like, as a holistic health and life coach, you always come to the point at one point, even if you work with people on their careers and their business development, that it's about them. It's about their personal lives, how they take care of themselves. So then you teach them, have a morning routine or have a health routine, have a soul care routine, however you call it. And so my challenge was that I realized that teaching this to my clients, I realized on my own side that sometimes you just don't feel like doing it. And then I realized, okay, what's really important about a morning routine is actually to have one, yes, but also to adapt it to my everyday needs. And we are not a robot that needs every day the same thing. So it's so important to first of all understand like what aspects should your morning ritual cover. So in my case, it is like I need some physical movement, I need some mental stimulation, I need an emotional aspect, and also some, I call it spiritual aspect, which could be serving my purpose in life, or yeah, something like that connects me with my higher self, with my future self, or with my purpose here on this planet. And that could be something else for everybody else, right? Some people
Right.
just have a physical activity as their morning ritual, and that's fine too. But again, I always, every morning I wake up, ask myself, so which way do I want to perform these different things now? And sometimes it takes 10 minutes, sometimes my morning ritual might be half an hour. But the important part is like really to taking this really first minute after waking up, before just getting out of the bed and doing everything, just like listening to your heart, connecting with your inner self, and seeing, okay, what is this that I really need right now? And being also okay that one day, you don't feel like doing your morning ritual. Okay, that's okay. So I'm not just like forcing people to do anything, but I force them to listen to themselves and adapting the morning ritual, whatever they call it, to what is needed. That is probably the most important part.
I like that. So it can be different every time and it's not necessarily the same. So you don't kind of like get burnt out on it or just kind of
Exactly. Exactly.
like get in
Yeah.
robot mode.
Because for one time, it was, for example, for me, very important to do my yoga practice every morning. And then at one point, I felt like I get up and do my yoga practice, and I didn't feel like, yay, I want to do it. And then while doing it, I was like, ugh, I want to cut it short. And then I didn't. I forced myself to do my 1.5 hour yoga practice. And then at one point, I was like, no, I mean, like, this is ridiculous. I should do what I feel like. So sometimes it's not just 10 sun salutations, and sometimes it's just a little bit of meditation and no asanas at all. But they serve then much more what I need. So like I feel great while doing it, and I feel great afterwards. That is actually the how you say, to be able to measure if your morning practice, if your morning self-care ritual is still good, is like you should feel good while doing it and afterwards. If you have to force yourself to any of the aspects of it, forget it. It won't help anything. It will not make you be more concentrated. It won't help you being calmer. It won't make you be more positive or anything. So like it's really, really important that you listen to what you need and not what you think you need. It's more like what you feel you need.
Yeah, I would have to agree because otherwise it just kind of becomes like another job or another thing off your checklist, and then it just loses. I think it
Exactly.
loses its effect of what it's supposed to help you do, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, as a mother and a caregiver, how did you find balance for yourself while supporting others? And what advice can you give other people prioritizing self care in their busy lives?
Well, first of all, I have to admit that I didn't do the taking care of my child and of my parents at the same time. So my son was already out of the house when I took over being the caregiver to my parents. But what applies to both roles is, and even if you don't have children to take care of, and if you don't have elderly parents, is this me time. is like really taking care of me time. And it's not just about having a morning ritual. Me time is anything that you do just for yourself, so that balances you. And it's important because in nowadays life, and it doesn't matter again if you are now a CEO of a big company or you have your own little enterprise or you're an employee, we are constantly asked of things. People constantly want something from us, and it can be colleagues, and it can be clients, and can be bosses, children, or parents. It is super important to every day have a certain amount of time. And again, everybody needs a different amount of time, and also the different time of the day. Me, I need for sure a couple of hours every day for me, but I don't take them as ones. But it's just like being aware of, no matter if you're an introvert or an extrovert, you need me time. The most extroverted extrovert needs also some me time. It might be 5 minutes, but it's important to just like connect with self and do things on your own for yourself, and not being disturbed by others, and not being there for others, but being there for yourself. Because for me, it's always the same thing. You want to show up for children, parents, colleagues, clients, whoever, and you want to be the best for them. You cannot be the best for them if you haven't taken care of yourself first. So that's why I say me time is not ever something selfish. It is a strategy to thrive, and a strategy to make anybody else happy that you want to make happy. It's like, first take care of yourself.
Yeah, I have to agree. And I used to always use that me time or me day. There's some times where I just had to have a me day, and it's like, you know what? Shut off the world. I'm not turning on the computer. I'm not doing this. I just needed a day to recover, recharge, or do whatever I needed to do. But yeah, that's what I used to always call it too, was me time or me days.
Yeah, and sometimes it might be both. Sometimes you need just a couple of minutes every day, but maybe once per month you need to have a me day. And then again, it's to find out and play a little bit with life, what you need when. I think it's super important. And I have so many young mothers who say like, oh yeah, but if you have a child, there's no me time. I had a child too. And actually, that's the moment when I understood how important it is to have me time, because I was so exhausted after my child was 4 weeks old, because I was just, every time he slept, either watching him sleeping because it was a magic to me to see this beautiful being, or I was thinking, okay, now I have to do all the things I cannot do when he's awake. And at one point I was like, I was super exhausted. And then was on the edge of not being the perfect mom to him anymore, because I'm exhausted now. And so I realized, like, by taking some care of myself and setting healthy boundaries, which doesn't mean I reject my child, but it's like either taking a babysitter, or maybe the mother or the sister or the friend who's visiting, or whatever it is, but just like setting healthy boundaries is not just a mental work. It is an action to do. And it has to do with communicating. First of all, being aware of what your needs are, but then also communicating with the ones around. And of course, maybe a 4-week-old child, you cannot tell him, oh, mommy needs now some time. But actually, energy-wise, yes, you can show your baby that you need to take care of yourself, and just like put your baby in a way in its bed or in its whatever little park where it can be unobserved while you take your shower or do your 10-minute or half an hour me time. Because the world still continues to turn, even if you just take a me time and take care of yourself and set these healthy boundaries. It's not that everything stops working if you don't take care of everything else.
No, that's true. It does. But, I think part of that too is, I don't know if it's just a woman thing, but a lot of us women, we feel like we just have to do it all. Who else is going to do it? Or we have to do everything. And we put ourselves last, I think, way too many times.
Yeah. And it's also, I think in the society, it's also, to be honest, like, I feel like most of the women, they have this, if you take care of yourself, people say things, oh, she's an egoist, or she's bossy, or she's selfish and just thinks of herself. Well, if a guy does the same thing, people say like, yes, he's determined, and like he knows what he wants. There is less of a negative sound around it, right? And so we have to fight more for it. Yes.
Yeah.
And I encourage women to do that, because nobody is going to thank you for not doing that, and not taking your me time, and not taking care of yourself, because at the end of the day, I always say, like, you are the number one world leading expert on yourself. Nobody can tell you best what you need than yourself. So if people are still under this, but what other people think and say about me, believe me, if you don't make yourself free of those, what other people think of you, you'll be completely and always a prisoner and not being able to live who you really are and what's really good for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you do a lot with energy, and I'm curious of how you think energy work plays in the personal development, but we got to take a break from our sponsors and we will be right back.
You feeling stressed, burnt out, disconnected, and just stuck, and you want your mojo back? Hi, I'm Linda Joy Ben. I'm an international speaker, best-selling author, and transformational catalyst, and founder of the Ben Method, which is a revolutionary approach to healing, self-care, and transformation. Using my Ben Method, I've also healed my own body of cancer and autoimmune medication-free. Now I work with others, empowering them to reclaim and come back into alignment with their soul's mission, and to restore their balance and freedom in their life, and then jump out of bed and go, wow, I feel fantastic. I love my life. I have the best life. And then spread that happiness out to their loved ones and everyone that they come in contact with. If you would like to reclaim your mojo, let's connect, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
I used to say we need a lawyer in the family. Having Legal Shield is better.
For less than $1 a day, you get access to vetted lawyers.
Want to create your will? Call Legal Shield. Got personal contracts to review? Call Legal Shield.
Do you need a vetted law firm to write a letter? Call Legal Shield. Warranty questions? Call Legal Shield.
For less than $1 a day, it's a no-brainer. Shield yourself from costly legal expenses. Call Legal Shield today.
Maybe your body's not against you. Maybe the pain you're feeling is your body trying to tell you something. You know, your body's symptoms are not purely physical. They always have an emotional and energetic component as well. If you'd like to learn how to assist your body's natural healing process by clearing blocked energies and understanding your body's messages, I invite you to enroll in my step-by-step course, Talk to Your Cells, because you are so much more powerful than you know.
So, Isabelle, when it comes to energy work, how do you feel that plays a role in all of that?
I like to say, like, everything is energy, or change your energy, change your life, which is actually, by the way, a book of one of my masters. She wrote it, Change Your Energy, Change Your Life. It is so powerful if you understand what our energy body is all about. And so I use that in my work by actually, I call it unmystifying or demystifying energy work, in the sense of helping people to tap into their energy body, understanding what energy body is and energy work is, and introducing them with my IAM method, initiating them, activating them, their energy body, and mastering the energy body, to allow everybody actually to do energy work. I think it's not something that I've been gifted in doing. It is maybe something that I have discovered early in my life, and then practice it more and more. And the more you practice it, the better you become in it. So I just like to encourage people to really connect with their energy bodies, because it can activate so many self-healing powers in you. And you will not depend on so many other people. You don't need a guru in your life. You are your own guru, basically. So that's why I use this to empower people to understand it is not witch work. It is not esoteric. It is science-based, by the way. And it is something that we can all tap into and learn and practice.
Yeah, I think it's always been there. A lot of us may just have been so busy, caught up in life, that you don't realize it. But, you know, like when you go to maybe like a certain event and you just, all of a sudden you just feel so tired and drained, you don't realize it's because it's pulling the energy out of you. Or there's places you can go where all of a sudden, you know, you might have felt drained, but now you're all recharged. But we didn't stop long enough to think that it had something to do with the energies of the people or the surroundings or the environments, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's everybody has already experienced energy. It's just like the way we are brought up in the Western world and our school systems. It's just like usually we only believe things that we can see or calculate and all of this. And energy is something that you feel. Nobody will doubt that the sun is the source of energy because you feel the warmth of the sun rays on your skin, right? And energy work is kind of the same. It's just, I make people understand how their thoughts influence their feelings and their emotions and how they can turn it around, how they can change their emotions by changing their thoughts. And that's already energy work. It's as simple as that. And
Yeah.
that's practice.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it's always been there. It's just not some. It was stuff that was taught maybe in certain scientific, but energy, frequency, vibration is in everything. It's around everything. Every now and then you might all of a sudden get goosebumps or your hair kind of stands up. It's because there's something that's off, but we don't never
Yeah.
necessarily think of it as energy. But obviously, there's something off that's like setting us off that we're not necessarily paying attention to. How would you say someone new to the concept, how would you say that they could start integrating it into their daily routine?
Well, probably if you are completely new to any energy work, it's probably good to find somebody who can help you connect with your energy body so that you understand. So like I always do a little bit of theory, introducing the people to the power of their thoughts, the power of their emotions, and then it's about like consistently practicing it and follow what you feel inside of your body. That's also very important.
Yeah, definitely. What would you say in your experience? What are some of the common misconceptions that women have about their abilities as either leaders or entrepreneurs? And how can they shift that mindset?
Yeah, that's already exactly it. So the mindset is also like that's our thoughts, right? Thoughts are energies. You can measure them, right, with a electroencephalogram, and it's very easy to distinct positive, high vibrational thoughts from low vibrational thoughts. So most women suffer, if I may say, suffer more than men from limiting beliefs, which are thoughts. So we very often think we are not good enough, and we don't deserve this, or we have guilt thoughts, and all of that influences the way we think, influences the way we feel about us as leaders, about us as working women. And so it is super important to start with that. So yes, limiting beliefs, getting rid of those, healing inner childhood wounds, or just releasing emotional wounds. And we all have them. It's not that you have to think that something is wrong with you. Everybody, even the most confident person on this planet, still has emotional wounds because that just happens every day when we interact with other people, but specifically, obviously, in our childhood, in our early childhood, the first 7 years, we just take everything in unfiltered. And so wounds may happen without even somebody wanting to have hurt us, but it happened. And so it's just important to understand emotional wound is actually nothing else than a stuck energy. I always say like emotions are nothing else than energy in motion. If this energy cannot be in motion, so it's not flowing through our body, then it gets stuck. And that in the long run, if continuously it gets stuck and other triggers happen and it's never being expressed, we cannot process this emotion, then it might even get as far as leading to ailments and diseases. So it is super, super important to understand the power of energy work because you can start unstuck these emotions and make them flow again and heal these emotional wounds that you might have had.
Yeah. Are there some examples you could share with us about how you help people to get that unstuck? I know everything's different. Everybody's different, but maybe
Yeah.
one of the methods?
I mean, like one very easy one in that sense is the one that we all have, and we are obviously dealing differently with, and that's fears or anxieties. We all have them about different things, different intensity, but everybody has fears. So now everybody reacts differently to that. Some people ignore them, others push through, others just like look away. And no matter if you choose flight, fright, or freeze, none of that is helping that fear to, if you see it as an energy that is stuck inside of you, none of these fight, flight, or freeze approaches will help you getting over that fear. So we have to go through the fear. And that's what we can do with energy work in the way of not needing to face it in a way that is hurtful. So obviously nobody wants to, if you are afraid of something that happened in your childhood, like going into new spaces, doing new things, and you're just like a very fearful person around that, you don't have to do this. But with the energy work, you can, for example, be visualize going through that, and then experience the freedom of letting this emotion just pass through your body. And I call it the 90-second rule. It's breathing into an emotion that you are feeling in your body. So literally allowing to be aware, where in your body do you feel this fear, for example, right now? And what do you feel? Is it like a punching pain, or is it making your being suffocated, you cannot breathe anymore? You have a bodily sensation usually that is attached to a fear. And so just allowing that and breathing 90 seconds into it will make it go away, will make it become easier to flow through your body. And that's just like a very easy and small exercise. Obviously, if it's like deep wounds that are not healed and like stuck emotions that have been there for over, 20 or 40 years, you will not just heal by breathing 90 seconds into them. But this is a first step into understanding that your body had an automatic reaction to it. And by breathing through it, you allow a new way of dealing with it, and without going through the pain of what had caused the initial fear. Because that's also something super important to understand with energy work. We don't just treat the symptoms of your fear, for example. We treat where it came from, so that these triggers that might again happen in your everyday life will not trigger you into the fear. So that's why it's so powerful.
Yeah, it's an incredible process. I've worked with a couple of, coaches before, and I've seen other people do it, because sometimes we don't even realize that we had it because it's so packed down. But then when they start talking, whether it's hypnotherapy or all the different stuff they do, and you start coming up stuff, and it's like all of a sudden it's like you have trouble swallowing, or you'll feel it in your throat or your chest. And it's kind of amazing, the work and what comes up. And really it affects a lot.
Yes. And most of the times, as you said, we all have experienced it, but we do not have an awareness around it. So like we all know how horrible it is to be in this moment of anxiety, of fear, but nobody, or very not often, we don't localize where in your body we feel it and what is it that we are feeling. So like giving it a name, describing it. And by that, it's already so much, like half of the work is done, in the sense of like, it can be there, and that there was a reason why your body reacted that way. So if you allow it, it allows it also to go away, instead of ignoring it or pushing it aside, or just like not knowing what to do with it. And the consciousness part and the awareness part is really such an important first step in it.
Yeah. So you mentioned the breathing for 90 seconds. So I know there's all kinds of, you think breathing sounds easy, but there's really a ton of different ways that you can do breathing and breath work. So have you studied a lot then about breath work too, to find out what fits for each person, or?
Well, in general, yes, I work with breath work in general, because there are obviously breaths that help you be more energized, breath work that helps you be more focused. But if it comes to healing emotions, or allowing emotions to move you through your body, it's basically just allowing you to breathe fully, which means if we are in fear, we tend to breathe very flat and just like in the upper part of our body. And so in that sense, it's just allowing yourself to breathe deeply into your belly, really using your whole diaphragm to breathe. But I don't think that there's, again, needs to be like a school of how to breathe, just like breathe deeply, whatever that is for you. And by that, allowing your body to, again, relax a little bit more.
Yeah. Because I know I've done stuff with people where we found pretty much 95% of the people are what we call shallow breathers, right? They just like breathe in their chest. So I guess in a way we're saying that's a lot of people that are stuck in that, fight, flight, or freeze mode.
Yeah.
Really relaxed.
things, right? We don't learn these things in school. It's so ridiculous. We learn so many things in school, but nobody teaches us how to breathe. Nobody teaches us how to love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it is like, I think in some Asian countries, and Bhutan is probably like very much leading here, they already have understood how much well-being and happiness and taking care of oneself is like the start of any education. It is so important to understand how you and your body need to be in constant communication. And when I say body, very often I mean it is not just our mind, it's not just our physical body, it's also our emotional body, our spiritual body. And so, yeah, it is very powerful if we understand and experience what it means to be in all of these four bodies.
Yeah. And I agree with you. Yeah, that stuff was like never taught, yet it's been around for thousands of years, right? All the different modalities, the different things you can do, they've been around thousands of years. But I never went to a school where it was taught to me, and I haven't met a whole lot of people that have been to schools that it's taught to them either. So besides the 90-second breathing, what are some practical steps that people can take to build that confidence? Because we talked about how a lot of women have the self-doubt or the fear of failure, and they can feel overwhelmed by it. What would you suggest?
Well, I think it is always good to look for like what is your best way of learning. And some people learn better with a group, others learn better with a coach, and the next one like to go to a group session, a self-help group, or the next likes to read. So if you know what is your way of being able to open up, because that's work where you should feel in a safe space, then obviously investigate in these areas where are people that can offer you support. Because I guess doing everything completely alone is probably very tough. At least it would have been for me. And that's why I chose to work with mentors and with coaches and also with like-minded people. So to feel like putting myself in an environment of growth and putting myself in an environment of people that support my journey and don't question everything. So if you in your friends and in your family circle don't have anybody where you would comfortably feel like I can share my concerns, my thoughts, my moments of not feeling sure about myself, then find spaces where you can. I don't say like drop all of your family members and like set free all of your friendships and like cancel all of the friendships. That's not what I'm saying, but look out for spaces, and that can be other people, that can be a podcast, that can be a teacher, a mentor, whatever it is. Look for spaces where you feel you can share your thoughts and your insecurities, and where you can feel others are maybe having same issues, and it is a space of support and growth. That is super important.
Yeah, I would agree. Support is huge, and having that safe space that where you're not judged. And yeah, I'm with you. I always tell people, I'm not saying you have to like ditch your family and everything, but if you've got stuff that is negatively impacting you, then create some space. At least give enough to give yourself that supportive space to heal, so you can better, fend off those energies, because depends on how sensitive you are to energies too. They can really be draining.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I teach also very fast in what I do with my clients, how to protect your energy. But it's not just about like getting out of exhaustion or getting rid of fears. But the first thing is actually like to treat your energy body like your physical body, like clean your energy body. You take a shower every single morning. You brush your teeth every day, twice. So do the same for your energy body. There's very simple and easy exercises to clean your energy body, calling your energies back, because again, we are constantly in exchange of energies when we meet other people, when we go to other spaces. And so there's a little bit of a like energy hygiene that I really encourage people to do. And it's easy. It is very easy. And you can feel the benefits right away. And protecting energies is definitely part of one of that too.
Would you like to share one of those with us?
One of the energy exercises?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for example, cleaning the energy body, that's the first thing I do. It's just like really standing or sitting and having your feet grounded on the floor, and just imagine for one moment that you are really well connected with the earth beneath you, and also connected kind of like to the universal central sun or God or however you want to call it. And then I invite people to just breathe, take 3 deep breaths, and then just have the intention. I guide them into it first, and then afterwards you can do it for your own. So I would guide them like by saying the words that wash over you, which are just like, everything that does not serve your system anymore will leave your heart, your body, and your energy body and goes back to where it belongs. And just allow your body to let this wash over you. And then also any low vibrational or external energies that still reside in your body will leave your system from your head down your neck, your shoulders, your hips, your knees, your ankles, and through your feet into Mother Earth, where they are welcomed and transformed. And usually I would have done a little exercise before so that people know that it works, because I introduce people with the kinesiology method of the standing pendulums, like you are your own pendulum that can say yes and no. So you will understand that your body tilts into its yes as long as the process takes. And once your body tilts back into neutral, you know that the cleaning has been done.
Nice.
So that is just like a little exercise, that I do.
I love that. And I always found the guided ones, for me anyway, are easier, because if I try to do it myself, I have too much monkey brain that goes on. But if I'm listening to someone and I'm hearing them, I can actually hear, or I can feel like each body part when they mention it. So it's, for me, I know guided works better. But yeah, everybody's different. So do you work with people one-on-one or in groups or both?
I do both. So I have one-on-one programs where I work with people remotely or directly in person. I have also a group program where, because some people just prefer being in a group. And I also have a high-ticket retreat and coaching program, but it's also still like a one-on-one program. And I think it's always, I like to adapt it to what is the person's preferred mode of learning. And also not everybody likes to have a group setup. Some people just don't have the time to meet with others and they want to have their own sessions. So yeah, I do that.
Nice. So how can high achieving mompreneurs maintain focus on their goals without getting sidetracked by our societal expectations or pressures?
Yeah, well, you can, if you want to have support from me doing this, you can contact me at the link that is just here. I also have like maybe a very beautiful podcast. It's called You've Got It. And that supports people in like all these different aspects of our busy mompreneur lives to just like have an inspiration to take care of yourself and to move on and thrive. And I even have, and I will send the link to you as well to share, an energy leak assessment, which means like it's kind of a personal energy checkup to understand where do you lose your energy most, where do you get drained the most, and what you can do to prevent that. It's a beautiful way to also check in where you are at and get first tips how to overcome and prevent that.
Nice. Yeah, because like I said, often we get so busy or caught up in one rat race or another, and we don't even realize what has completely drained us. I have become more aware of it. The more I have gotten into this work in this world, I am more in tune to it now than what I ever used to be. But it takes time. It takes time to get used to that.
Yeah, it takes time, first of all. And sometimes I also say, but it doesn't take time. The thing is, like, everybody has a different way of maybe tuning into their own energy world. And I always like to say, like, you do it at your pace. And the most important thing to know is, like, you are not a weirdo and there's nothing wrong with you. You can be helped and there are ways to feel better. And you don't have to take medication for it. And you can really be, and that's why I call it empowered, to master your own health and your own well-being.
Yeah, I do. I totally agree with you. I believe that we have a lot more ability to heal ourselves than we give ourselves credit for.
Yeah.
So you have successfully navigated transitions in your life. What lesson has been the most transformative for you during these changes, and how do they apply to others?
Yeah, wow. I guess the most important one is to sit down and acknowledge where you are at right now. And it might be like a dark place. It might be a place of not knowing what to do anymore. And before jumping into any action, just acknowledge that you are at this point right now. It's the most important. And then the second one is to reach out for help. And then, as I just said before, it can be different ways. Everybody is different. You might want to share it with your bestie. Others say, no, nobody that knows me should know of this. Okay, then find a coach, find a mentor, find a therapist, whoever you feel more comfortable. Find a group where you feel like this is a space where I can open up, and this is a space where I can get support and maybe just inspiration. If you don't want to commit to any coaching programs, just like Google it. Google like whatever your question is, and find places where you get nourished and you don't have to go through this alone.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, support is really a big part of it. So could you share maybe a personal story that illustrates the power of embracing your inner strength and creativity, especially in the face of adversity?
Yeah, I think my most powerful moment was really when I accepted that I was just like not knowing what to do anymore. And
Oops.
sorry,
That's
is this
okay.
on my side?
That's on your side.
Okay. So like, yeah, my most powerful moment was when I had this breakdown because I did not acknowledge where I was. So for me, it was really this moment to sit down. I was forced to it and accept like this cannot go on like this. You cannot continuously put everybody else first and shut down your inner dreams, your what you really like, just because other people always want something else from you. So it was about really stop doing less and being more. And it sounds sometimes like very philosophical and you don't know how to start. But for me, it was starting to pause and allow myself to break down and share this with somebody. I did it with somebody that I trusted, and it frees so much because already just like me talking about it, I feel like I breathe deeper the moment you share this super fear that you have of like, oh my God, everybody will know now that I'm a loser, I'm not good enough, and all of these things. The moment that you just acknowledge that is already freeing so much of your energy and takes away so much of these limiting beliefs away, because you just like can breathe all of a sudden again and have created a little bit more space for your freedom inside. Yeah. And I think this is what you underestimate, that the moment of showing vulnerability is not the moment when you lose it all. It's the moment when you gain. That's the moment when you start healing. That's the moment when you start having again more energy, having again a little bit of more clear thoughts instead of monkey mind going in every sense, and you don't know how to breathe anymore because you just like were lost in all these actions and thinking you need to do this, you need to do that, and another thing. No, it's just allowing yourself to do whatever is needed, and the breakdown is needed sometimes. If you can prevent it, obviously, by doing more me time activities, that's the best, that's the better part. But it's really super important. Be aware of where you're at and allowing that to be for a moment before wanting to change everything.
Yeah, I've even had those moments where sometimes it's like I feel like I was fine, and I start talking to a certain person, and all of a sudden, it's like the waterworks just turned on. It's like, okay, apparently I haven't dealt with that. All the emotion comes out, and like they said, it's okay. You have to let it out, to move it, let it move through your body instead of keep stuffing it down.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, I was almost saying like, this is maybe the little advantage as women that we have in this society. A woman that cries is not something that people say like, oh my God, she cannot do anything, right? For guys, it is obviously more difficult to show vulnerability or to cry and show a weakness of you, which by the way is a strength. Mm-hmm. So I can only encourage every now and then to make yourself vulnerable. And it's not necessarily that you need to make yourself vulnerable publicly or in front of everybody. Maybe start by making yourself vulnerable to yourself and admitting, I am at my end. I just can't anymore. This is too much for me. Okay. Yes. Great. Really admitting this to yourself first. And that gives you space to then see what's the next to do. Maybe I need to admit it to my partner. Maybe I need to admit it to my bestie or to the people that depend on me. Elderly parents, children that are not too small anymore can also understand mommy has her limits and she needs understanding too. So it is really about taking responsibility of your needs and setting boundaries. Super important.
Yeah, absolutely. We have about 4 minutes left, Isabelle. What would you like to leave the audience with?
I would like to really invite you to take my energy leak assessment because it helps you to really understand where you are. And that I would like to invite you to, if there is a person in your life that you always wanted to talk to and you never dared because, again, you might have limiting beliefs or you might have thought like, I should not. Again, take a moment and see what you really want to tell that person and maybe do it energetically first. Write a letter to that person that you will never send, or record something for that person that you will never send that person, but do it because your soul needs it. It's not so much about what the person needs, it's about you.
Have you done that yourself, or have you ever done that where you write it down and then burn it in a fire? Or
Often.
I've heard of different methods of all kinds of different things.
Yeah, and exactly, and there are all different methods that exist. Somebody might just fold a little paper boat and it writes it in it and then puts it in a river. The next person likes to burn it. You might want to write it in your diary and not delete it or burn it. I think it's just this energetic moment of writing it down, manifesting what it is that you want to express and not forbidding you of expressing it. And again, that's why I said this is a letter that will never be sent because it is not so important what it does to the other person. It is more a work that you do for yourself. And that's why I say it's important to do.
Have you ever done the exercise where you write a letter to your future self and then it gets sent out later? I was in a business mastery boot camp one time where he says, write this letter. And I totally forgot I had wrote it by the time he had sent it out. And I was like, how fitting was it when it showed up in my mailbox? I was really surprised.
Exactly. I think it was one of my first personal development workshops that I received. I was very young then. I was maybe 26, and I went on this 1 week seminar. And they also asked us in the end to write this letter, and they will send it to us. And 6 weeks later, I got it, and it is the most beautiful gift. I got that letter, and I kept it. I reread it a couple of months and weeks later, again and again. Because we very often we are such good friends to our besties and such good mothers to our kids, but we are not to ourselves. So these kinds of exercises and letters, they really are a practice to be the bestie to yourself, to be the supportive person to yourself. And so, I not just believe in these exercises, I did them, and they are beautiful. I have not heard one person who did it who said no, didn't believe in it and didn't help me in anything. It always helps you in one way or the other.
It does. It does. Well, Isabelle, I want to thank you so much for taking the time with us today and sharing all of that, the tips and techniques and stuff that you had for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Laura, so much. First of all, of creating this space of Mindful Mondays. It is so needed. And I cannot thank you more than I just did to have me had here today and share with your audience.
You. And I look forward to checking out some of your YouTube videos and stuff, because I got the YouTube channel and stuff now. So, so anyone, if you are a mompreneur, you're struggling, or female, doesn't matter. If you are struggling and looking to find those energies and take better care of yourself, and you're looking for someone that's been there that can walk you through it, please contact Isabelle. As you can tell, she's very knowledgeable. She's been through a lot and very easy to talk to. So Isabelle, thanks again. And we will see everybody next week. I hope everybody has a beautiful and mindful Monday.
Thank you.